Good morning. Let us see this question. If the work done by a body on application of a constant force is directly proportional to the distance traveled by the body, express this in the form of an equation in two variables and draw the graph of the same by taking the constant force as 5 units. Also, read from the graph the work done when the distance traveled by the body is 2 units and also 0 units. So first let us understand this question. If the work done by a body on application of a constant force is directly proportional to the distance traveled by the body. So this sentence is very important. The work done by a body is directly proportional to the distance traveled by the body. This is the first sentence. The work done is directly proportional to the distance traveled at a constant force. So there is a constant force. Force is constant. So work done is directly proportional to the distance traveled with a constant force. Okay. And that constant force is mentioned as 5 units. Constant force is 5 units. So here we have to frame an equation, a linear equation of two variables, and also draw its corresponding graph. Let us see how to do this question. So in this question, you can find a term known as proportion. It's given that work done is directly proportional to the distance traveled. So what they have given? So work done is directly proportional to the distance traveled at a constant force. So here, have you learned about proportional? Means directly proportional and inversely proportional. Direct proportion and inverse proportion. Have you learned about these two topics? Okay, what do we mean by a proportional or proportion of two quantities? Actually, there are two types of proportions. One proportion is based on the ratios. Like suppose let's take two ratios. 1:2 and another ratio is 2:4. So when you take these two ratios, they are equal. They are equal ratios because this is the equivalent ratio of the first one. So these two ratios are equal. That means if two ratios are equal in their value, then we can call these terms are in proportion. If two ratios are equal, then we can say these four terms A, B, C, D are in proportion. This is one kind of proportion. You might have learned all these things in grade 8, but just let us recall that concept. Okay, and the second type of proportion is based on the quantity. Based on the quantities. And you know, this question is based on the quantities because work done is a quantity, distance traveled is another quantity, and force is the third quantity. So this question is related to quantities. So we have to take care of proportion based on quantities. That means the change of a quantity affects the change of another quantity in which a third quantity is constant. The change of a quantity affects the change of another quantity with a constant value. Like for example, number of pen cost of pen. Number of pen and cost of pen. When you consider these two quantities, number of pen and cost of pen, means expenses. In this case, the price of each pen is constant. Price of each pen is constant. So when you consider this question, when number of pen increases, when number of pens increases, the total cost of pens also increases, isn't it? For example, one pen costs rupees 5. So when you purchase 2 pens, it become rupees 10. When you purchase 3 pens, it gives rupees 15, etc. See here, when the number of pens increases, the cost of pens, that is total expense for pens, also increases. So the increase of a quantity affects the increase or decrease of the other quantity. In this question, increase of a quantity makes the second quantity also to be increased with a constant value. Constant value is price of each pen. So when one quantity increases, the other quantity also increases. When one increases, the other also increases. When one decreases, the other also decreases. This type of proportions are called direct proportions. So they are known as direct proportions. If two quantities, let's take x and y, with a constant value k. If two quantities x and y are directly proportional, that is, if x is directly proportional to y, this is a symbol we have to use for that. X is directly proportional to y. That means if x increases, y also get increased with a constant value k. Okay, x is directly proportional to y can be written as, this is a sign for proportionality. It can be written as, and with this proportionality sign we cannot continue the calculation. So what we need to do is change proportionality to equality sign. Okay, for that we make use of this constant. So x is directly proportional to y gives us the answer x equals that constant into y. X is directly proportional to y gives x equals constant into y. Here work done, let's take work done as W, is directly proportional to the distance traveled with a constant force. So what is constant force? That means with a, what do you mean by this sentence? With a similar force, if you apply a constant, a uniform force to a body, then the work done is directly proportional to the distance traveled. That means when the work done, when you apply a constant force to a body, then the work done is directly proportional to distance traveled. That means if you apply more work done, then it travels more distances. Okay, so when you change it into, we get W is equal to constant into D. As per this question, the force is 5 units. Force is 5 units, a constant force of 5 units. So we get it, W is equal to 5D as the linear equation. See, it looks like y is equal to 5x. We can use any variable, so we can use W and D, or else you can assume work done as y and distance traveled as x. So we get the equation as W is equal to 5D or y is equal to 5x, where y is the work done and x is the distance traveled. Okay, now we have to frame its corresponding graph. So I prepared the table for y is equal to 5x. I have taken 3 values for x as x is equal to 1, 2 and 3. And when x is equal to 1, we get y as 5 into 1, 5. X is equal to 2, 5 into 2, 10. X is equal to 3, 5 into 3, 15. Now let's mark those points. 1, 5. x1, y5. 2, 10. 3, 15. When you join, we get a straight line which passes through the origin. Now from this straight line, what are the values you want? You can mark it. Okay, so here this is x, this is y. As per our assumption, x is the distance traveled. X is the distance traveled. So this is distance traveled and this is work done. Okay, and in your question, if the distance traveled is 2 units, what is the corresponding work done? That is one of the question. Distance traveled is 2 units, then what is the work done? So from this graph we can find it easily. What you need to do is, distance traveled is 2 units. So through the point 2, you can find on a graph sheet there will be a vertical line through every point. So when you join it, when you draw the vertical line, it meets the curve at a point. Yes, vertical line, exactly vertical line. Okay, now it meets the curve at a point. Not a curve, not, it meets the straight line at a point. So from this point you can find a horizontal line. Just use dotted line with pencil to mark it. So through 2 units, if you draw a line, a vertical line, it meets the straight line at a point. From that point, draw a horizontal line. It meets the y-axis. That means work done at a certain value. What is that value? 10. So what is the work done when the distance traveled is 2 units? It is 10. If you want, suppose distance traveled is 4 units. Distance traveled is 4 units. So how do we find its corresponding work done? It's very simple. Through these 4 units, draw a vertical line using your scale and pencil. It meets the straight line at a point. It should be a vertical line. Already line is passing through that. Just you have to join it using a dotted line. It meets the straight line at a point. From there, draw a horizontal line. Okay, from there just draw a horizontal line. You can identify it meets y-axis at a point. See what is that point? That will be the corresponding work done. Okay. Next question. In countries like USA and Canada, temperature is measured in Fahrenheit, whereas in countries like India, it is measured in Celsius. Here is a linear equation that converts Fahrenheit to Celsius. F is equal to 9 divided by 5 into C plus 32. F is equal to 9C by 5 plus 32. This is the equation to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. Draw the graph of the linear equation above using Celsius for x-axis and Fahrenheit for y-axis. If the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, what is the temperature in Fahrenheit? If the temperature is 95 degree Fahrenheit, what is the temperature in Celsius? If the temperature is 0 degree Celsius, what is the temperature in Fahrenheit? And if the temperature is 0 degree Fahrenheit, what is the temperature in Celsius? Is there a temperature which is numerically the same in both Fahrenheit and Celsius? Okay, in this question we need to draw the graph of F is equal to 9 by 5 C plus 32 directly by taking certain values for C, by assuming certain values for C. Okay, here you can assume certain values like you see here the denominator is 5. 9 by 5 into C. If you assume the value of C as 1, 2, 3, etc., there is a chance of getting decimals. Instead of that, if you assume the value of C like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, etc., those all are the multiples of 5. So 5 and those values can get cancelled so that we get a perfect value for F. So assumption should be convenient to our equation. And the questions 2, 3, 4 and 5 are based on graph. From the graph you have to find out the answers of 2, 3, 4 and 5. So let's see how to do this question. In this question, y is 9 by 5 C plus 32. So, sorry, not y, it is F. So let's assume a few values for C. Like if you assume C as 10 degree, 20 degree and 30 degree, what happens to F? So here we get F is equal to 9 by 5 into, if C is 10 plus 32. So we get it as 9 to 18. 18 plus 32 is 50. So our first point is 1050. If C is 20, we get 5 fours 20. So that 9 fours 36 plus 32. We get it as 68 degree. And if C is 30, we get 5, 6, 30, 9, 6, 54. So we get 54 plus 32 as 86. So here the point is 2068 and here it is 3086 and so on. How many points you want you can do, just we'll take only 3 points here. Now mark the points. First point is 1050. Second point is 2068. 68 comes here. 2068. On the graph sheet it will be so easy to mark. 3086. Now what you need to do is join these points using a ruler. Now our graph is formed. Now according to the question, first question is if the value is 30 degrees Celsius, what is its corresponding Fahrenheit? 30 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit we have to find out. So through 30 degrees Celsius, join the vertical line. It meets the curve at a point. From there, you have to draw the horizontal line which meets y-axis at a point. Find out that point. Second question is, if the value is 95 degree Fahrenheit, what is its corresponding Celsius? 95 degree Fahrenheit, what is its corresponding Celsius? So Fahrenheit is on y-axis. So 95 degree Fahrenheit is here. So through that point, draw a horizontal. It meets the straight line at a point. From there, draw a vertical line. It meets x-axis at a point. Find out that point that gives the corresponding Celsius. Okay. And remaining answers you can be found by using only graph. So you draw the proper graph, and from the graph find out the remaining answers also. Thank you.